No one in the towering glass headquarters paid any attention when the young intern quietly packed a few notebooks into a worn backpack after security escorted him toward the exit. Employees watched with smug smiles, whispered cruel jokes, and returned to their expensive offices believing they had just witnessed another powerless young dreamer crushed by corporate arrogance. What they didn't know was that the quiet intern wasn't just another college student trying to survive his first job. He had spent months silently observing everything, recording every act of corruption, every humiliation, every stolen opportunity, and every dishonest decision that had poisoned the company from the inside. As the revolving doors closed behind him, he stopped on the sidewalk, looked back at the building one final time, took out his phone, and made a single calm phone call. Minutes later, he spoke only one chilling sentence that would change hundreds of lives forever. Before this unbelievable story unfolds, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and whether you believe kindness and second chances can change someone's life, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Speaks. Every like and every subscription helps us continue bringing you inspiring stories that remind the world kindness still exists. The company had built its reputation over 3 decades. The young intern arrived during the summer wearing inexpensive clothes that had been carefully ironed by his widowed mother before dawn. He introduced himself simply as Ethan, a quiet university student grateful for the opportunity to learn. Most employees barely remembered his name. They noticed only his old backpack, second-hand laptop, and nervous smile. Some assumed he came from a poor family. Others concluded he lacked confidence and intelligence because he listened more than he spoke. Few understood that silence often belongs to people paying the closest attention. Ethan never argued, never complained, and never demanded recognition. He volunteered for forgotten tasks, organized neglected files, delivered reports, cleaned meeting rooms after executives left, and treated everyone, from receptionists to janitors, with genuine respect. The maintenance staff greeted him warmly every morning because he always thanked them by name. Security guards appreciated his kindness because he never walked past without asking how their families were doing. Those small acts seemed meaningless inside a company obsessed with profits, yet they quietly revealed the character of someone who valued people more than positions. What almost no one knew was that Ethan's internship had never been ordinary. The company had attracted the attention of its largest investment group after anonymous complaints suggested widespread misconduct, discrimination, financial manipulation, and abuse of employees. Rather than launching an obvious investigation that would alert senior executives, the investors arranged something far more discreet. Ethan, despite his young age, had earned a remarkable reputation through academic research on corporate ethics and organizational behavior. His integrity, extraordinary memory, and ability to blend naturally into everyday environments made him the perfect observer. Officially he was an intern. Unofficially he represented the eyes and ears of people who owned most of the company. For months he documented everything with quiet precision. He watched experienced employees receive credit stolen by ambitious supervisors. He noticed deserving workers denied promotions because they refused unethical requests. He observed executives forcing junior staff to work impossible hours while publicly celebrating work-life balance. He witnessed managers humiliating assistants during meetings simply to entertain powerful colleagues. Every act of disrespect found its place in carefully organized reports. Every suspicious financial approval was cross-checked against official records. Every anonymous complaint from frightened employees matched patterns Ethan personally observed. What disturbed him most was not isolated corruption but the culture that encouraged it. Kindness had become a weakness. Honesty had become a liability. Compassion had become something people hid for fear of appearing soft. Among everyone he met, one person stood out above all others. Her name was Maria, an elderly cleaning supervisor who had worked in the building for nearly 20 years. She arrived before sunrise and often left long after executives had gone home. Many employees never learned her name despite seeing her every day. Some walked past without acknowledging her existence. Others complained rudely whenever a trash bin wasn't emptied quickly enough. Ethan always greeted her with respect. Sometimes he carried heavy cleaning supplies upstairs without being asked. Sometimes he shared his lunch because he noticed she quietly skipped meals to save money for her grandson's education. Maria reminded him of his own mother, strong, humble, endlessly hard-working, yet almost invisible to those who benefited from her sacrifices. She often smiled and told him that the strongest people were not those with the loudest voices but those who continued choosing kindness after life had given them every reason to become bitter. One rainy evening, Ethan accidentally overheard two senior executives discussing how they planned to eliminate several long-serving employees before retirement to avoid paying promised benefits. They laughed while calculating savings on a spreadsheet. Human lives had become numbers. Decades of loyalty had become financial liabilities. Ethan wrote everything down, his heart growing heavier with every passing week. Eventually someone began noticing that the quiet intern asked thoughtful questions and remembered details others overlooked. Suspicion spread among several managers who feared exposure. Rather than investigating honestly, they decided to remove the problem. They accused Ethan of mishandling confidential documents, violating company procedures, and showing disrespect toward leadership. None of the accusations were true, but truth mattered little when powerful people controlled the narrative. Human Resources, already influenced by senior management, arranged a brief meeting lasting less than 15 minutes. Ethan wasn't allowed to defend himself properly. His internship was terminated immediately. Security escorted him through the lobby while employees stared. Some secretly felt sorry for him but remained silent to protect their own positions. Maria stood in a distant hallway with tears in her eyes, unable to stop what was happening. Ethan smiled gently at her before leaving, silently thanking her for reminding him that dignity never depends on someone else's opinion. Outside the building, rain slowly stopped. The city reflected gray clouds across shining streets. Ethan looked exhausted, not because he had lost the internship but because he had hoped the company still contained enough goodness to save itself without outside intervention. He reached into his pocket, removed a secure phone issued only for emergencies, and contacted the chairman of the investment group. The conversation lasted less than 3 minutes. His reports had already been reviewed. His dismissal confirmed every concern. The chairman listened quietly before giving immediate authorization for emergency corporate action. Ethan then spoke the sentence that would echo throughout the organization: fire every last one of them. The following morning the headquarters buzzed with unusual activity. Luxury vehicles arrived carrying auditors, legal advisors, compliance officers, and members of the board. Computer systems were secured. Executive access cards stopped working. Confidential records were preserved before anyone could destroy evidence. Managers who had spent years intimidating others suddenly found themselves answering difficult questions. Offices once filled with arrogance became rooms of nervous silence. Employees who believed they were untouchable watched as investigation teams uncovered hidden emails, unauthorized transactions, manipulated performance reviews, and deliberate retaliation against honest workers. By midday, termination notices reached the executives responsible for creating the toxic culture. Department heads who ignored harassment lost their positions. Financial officers involved in dishonest reporting were suspended pending criminal investigations. Human resources leaders who enabled retaliation were dismissed. The chairman addressed remaining employees with unexpected honesty. He explained that no corporation deserved success if it sacrificed integrity for profit. Buildings could be rebuilt. Reputations could recover. Lost trust required something far more difficult: consistent honesty. News spread quickly throughout every floor. Employees whispered the unbelievable truth. The fired intern had never been an ordinary intern. He represented the people who actually owned the company. Shock turned into reflection. Those who had mocked him remembered his quiet smile. Those who ignored him remembered how politely he had greeted everyone. Those who had mistreated cleaners, receptionists, interns, and assistants suddenly realized that true character reveals itself not in front of powerful people but in how someone. During the weeks that followed, the company experienced painful but necessary transformation. Independent investigators interviewed hundreds of employees. For the first time, many felt safe enough to speak honestly. Stories of bullying, favoritism, stolen ideas, and emotional abuse surfaced one after another. Yet alongside heartbreaking memories emerged remarkable examples of courage. Employees described colleagues who secretly protected newcomers, shared opportunities, and defended people facing unfair treatment. The investigation didn't simply expose corruption. It uncovered forgotten kindness that had survived despite impossible circumstances. One of the board's first decisions surprised everyone. Maria, the cleaning supervisor, received public recognition for her decades of faithful service. Her salary increased significantly. Her grandson received a full educational scholarship funded by the company. During the ceremony, many executives admitted they had walked past her thousands of times without truly seeing her. She accepted every honor with tears, reminding everyone that respect costs nothing yet changes everything. Ethan declined offers of fame and public interviews. He insisted the story should never become about revenge. He explained that accountability without compassion simply creates another cycle of bitterness. His goal had never been destroying careers. His goal had always been protecting honest people whose voices had been ignored for too long. Those willing to admit mistakes and rebuild with integrity deserved opportunities to change. Those who intentionally harmed others without remorse had chosen their own consequences. Months later, the headquarters felt entirely different. Employees greeted each other by name. Managers received leadership training focused on empathy instead of fear. Anonymous reporting systems actually protected whistleblowers. Promotions depended on character as much as performance. The walls still displayed awards, but new photographs honored employees from every department, including cleaners, security guards, cafeteria workers, and interns. The company finally understood that every role mattered because every person mattered. One quiet afternoon, Ethan visited the building again. This time no security escorted him outside. Instead, dozens of employees welcomed him warmly. Maria embraced him with tears of gratitude. Looking around the bright lobby, Ethan realized the greatest victory wasn't exposing corruption. It was proving that organizations, like people, could choose redemption when enough courageous hearts refused to surrender hope. Life rarely announces its heroes with expensive suits or impressive titles. Sometimes they arrive carrying worn backpacks, speaking softly, and choosing kindness when no one is watching. The world often underestimates humble people because true strength rarely needs attention. Yet history repeatedly reminds us that integrity outlasts influence, compassion outlives power, and one honest person can transform an entire institution that forgot its humanity. As Ethan walked into the afternoon sunlight, he remembered something his mother had told him as a child whenever life seemed unfair. She believed that character is like a seed planted deep beneath the soil. For a long time no one sees it growing. Storms come. Darkness lasts. People assume nothing is happening. Then one day the seed breaks through the surface, becoming a tree strong enough to shelter countless others. Ethan smiled because he finally understood. Losing the internship had never been the end of his story. It had simply been the moment the seed finally broke through the ground. If this story touched your heart, please write this special comment before you leave. Kindness always finds a way. We'd love to read every one of your messages and know that this story reached you. Then please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks. Your support helps us continue sharing inspiring stories that remind the world compassion is never wasted. Remember, every person you meet may be carrying a story you cannot see. Treat the quiet intern with respect. Thank the cleaner who keeps your workplace shining. Encourage the newcomer who feels invisible. Defend the coworker who cannot defend themselves. One simple act of kindness may become the reason someone keeps believing in humanity. And sometimes, the person everyone overlooks today may be the very person who changes everything tomorrow.